Spring is often treated like a clean slate. We picture blossoms, sunshine, fresh starts, and everything feeling new. But most real beginnings are not clean. They come with history, they come with grief, they come with fatigue, they come with skills we forgot we had, they come with wisdom we may not have recognized yet. This is why starting over is not the same as starting from scratch. This week, we're talking about the spring season of Kelly Orchard's Apple a Day. The season of planting seeds, beginning again, clarifying what matters, cultivating hope, and creating room for new growth. Last week, I shared the origin story of Apple a Day, how it began 12 years ago in a composition notebook and eventually became 4 seasonal books. This week, we begin with the first season, spring. What spring really means. Spring is the plant the seeds season. It's about beginning again, but not in a shallow, fresh start way. Spring asks, what is still alive? What matters now? What seeds are worth planting? What new thought, habit, practice, dream, or direction needs a little attention? The spring book frames this as possibility, but not perfection. You do not need to have everything figured out before taking the next step. You only need to plant the first seed. Growth is not about becoming someone else. It's about becoming more fully yourself. This matters for people at a crossroads, because when life displaces someone from an old path, they may think that they have to reinvent everything all at once. But spring does not ask the seed to become fruit overnight. Spring asks you to plant what still matters. After my heart crisis and heart failure, I did have to begin again. But it was not quick. It wasn't tidy. It was not an inspirational pivot with a pretty bow around it. It was a long recovery season. It was about a 2-year battle involving medical procedures, fatigue, lots of doctor's appointments, mental fog, depression, and the slow process of allowing my heart to heal. Eventually, mental health became the direction and path for me. But even then, when I moved into psychotherapy, I was not starting from scratch. The field was new. The foundation was not. I had more in my soil than I may have realized at the time. From radio, I already had leadership, problem-solving, sales experience, communication skills, marketing instincts, understanding human behavior and emotion, compliance and documentation experience from FCC licensing and consulting, experience maintaining licenses and helping stations stay compliant, and storytelling. The storytelling piece is especially important. Therapy is story work. People come into therapy and tell their story of what happened, what they believe it means, what they fear it says about them, what they cannot yet make sense of. Radio helped train me for that because radio required me to imagine scenes, understand audiences, create content, write skits, talk with businesses about problems, and translate ideas into messages people could actually hear. Radio taught me how to listen, lead, solve problems, communicate, and work with story. Psychotherapy gave those skills a new place to live. Writing gave them another. When you're beginning again, don't dismiss what you already know just because the next field, role, or season looks different. Your old skills may not be wasted. They may be seeds. You may be standing at a crossroad because of career change, job loss, burnout, retirement, caregiving, health, grief, financial pressure, changing priorities, loss of identity, creative uncertainty, or a quiet inner knowing that the old definition of success no longer fits. The question is not only, how do I replace what I lost? The deeper spring question is, what kind of life am I trying to grow now? Yes, the practical things still matter. Rent matters, bills matter, health insurance matters, income matters, but meaning matters too. If all we do is scramble toward the next open door, we may miss the deeper question, what still matters enough to plant? The spring book begins with a core values session. It includes apples on values like love, honesty, wealth, humor, family, fairness, freedom, calmness, respect, spirituality. There's 30 of them. I could list all of them if you want. Before you plant a new career, rhythm, relationship to work, creative process, or version of your life, you need to know what kind of garden you are trying to grow. Core values are not slogans, they're seeds. They help you decide what belongs in the next season and what does not. When you're displaced from an old path, it's tempting to look only for the next available thing. But spring asks you to pause long enough to ask, what matters most now? In the last 3 years, I lost both my parents, sold nearly everything, bought a trailer, and began full-time RV life. That is a beginning again. But it was not starting from scratch. I already had therapy practice I could carry by phone, experienced towing a boat when I was younger, a childhood history of RV travel, a familiarity with the road, and enough practical confidence to learn the rest. But emotionally, the season was not only spring, it was also winter. Spring because I was beginning a new way of living. Winter because I was grieving, releasing, reflecting, and living through the end of a family season. Some seasons are spring and winter at the same time. You could be planting in one part of your life while grieving in another. That does not mean you're doing it wrong. It means you're human. Life does not move in a straight line. It moves in seasons. You're not behind because your seasons overlap, and you're not failing because part of you is beginning while another part is still grieving. I recently sent the frequency of trust to my editor. I haven't heard anything back yet, and that's normal. It's only been a few days, well, maybe about a week. But waiting can create anxiety if I hover over it. I could turn waiting into a full-time emotional event. Instead, I'm using a tool. I'm writing Perry Carpenter's story. This is emotional regulation. It's not avoidance. It's choosing the next useful tool while something else is out of my hands. Ruminating on uncertainty does not resolve uncertainty. When I can't control the outcome, I choose the next useful tool. When you're waiting on an application or a job interview, a medical result, financial clarity, an editor, a decision, or someone else's response, ask, what is within my control? What tool can I use right now? What can I tend while I wait? One of the things is Kismet. He's my constant companion, my golden retriever. When my mood shifts, he notices. When I feel angst, he feels it too. That helps me notice myself. This is especially relevant because grief is still part of my daily life. I'm approaching the 3rd anniversary of my dad's death, and it's been just over a year since my mom died. Grief bursts still show up. That's natural. The difference is that I know how to identify it and name it. When grief bursts show up, I use tools. I walk Kismet. I put music in my earbuds, often my badass soundtrack. I get fresh air. I get sunshine. I move my body. I tinker. Sometimes I just sweep the floor. I return to writing or meaningful work when I can. The point is, not everyone needs a golden retriever, although Kismet might probably make a case for that. The point is to know your tools before you need them. Sometimes you need a shovel. Sometimes you need a rake. Sometimes you need pruning shears. Sometimes you need water. Sometimes you need sunshine. Sometimes you need to stop digging and let the seed rest. The tool depends on the season. When a new therapy client comes in and they start sharing with me their issues, I always, I have a lot of compassion, a lot of empathy after I hear their story. And I always have to tell them, it's like, I wish I had a magic wand that I could just wave all over your problems right now, but I don't. Same thing is, apple a day is not magic. It's not a miracle cure. It's a set of small daily tools, a thought, a reflection, a question, a place to write. The spring book is designed to be used, not rushed. Each apple a day offers one bite-sized morsel of wisdom, success, and personal growth, followed by a companion journal where the reader can notice what comes next. There's no wrong way to use the book. You can read it in the morning. You can read it at night. You can move through it in order, or you can open up the page that you need most, and you don't have to fix your whole life in one sitting. Read one apple, one honest thought. Notice what comes up. So this is the apple a day. Plant the seeds. It gives you about 90 daily reflections, roughly a 3-month season if you use one apple a day. And it begins with the core values because before you plant a new direction, you need to understand what matters most to you. Then it moves through planting seeds of growth, change, perspective, promise, discipline. Realize that wishing won't make you happy. Let the good seeds grow. Plant seeds for relationships, healthy relationships. The spring section is designed to help you refresh your thinking, clarify what matters most, cultivate healthier habits, and create room for new possibilities. If spring is the season you're in, if you're beginning again, clarifying what matters, planting new seeds, or trying to create room for new growth, the spring book is where I'd invite you to begin. You can buy the Spring Apple a Day book now and start right away. 1 apple a day, 1 reflection, 1 journal page, 1 honest thought. And if you're not ready to purchase, start with the free Core Values playlist on my YouTube channel. The book gives you the deeper journal-based experience. The free playlist gives you a way to begin listening today. What wants to begin again? What still matters enough to plant? What are you bringing with you that you forgot to count? What old skill might be a seed? What tool do you need for this season? What part of your life might be in spring, even if another part is still in winter? You're not starting from zero. You're starting from here. And here is not nothing. Start where you are. Seek growth. Be fruitful. If you enjoyed this conversation, I'd appreciate if you'd like, subscribe, and share it with someone who might enjoy it too. And if you'd like to go deeper, I invite you to join me in the courtyard on Substack. That's where I share the writing journey behind the Radio and Records Cafe trilogy, along with reflections on creativity, leadership, resilience, travel, and the stories that shape our lives. You'll find the link below, and I'd love to have you join us there.